We all say it, don't we? Everything happens for a reason. It rolls off our tongue like comfort, like a little blanket we throw over the chaos of life. But what if I told you that this phrase, so common, so overused, might be both the most dangerous lie and the most liberating truth you could ever believe? The difference depends on how deep you're willing to go. Because let's be honest, when life hits you, when you lose someone you love, when a dream you worked for years collapses, when everything that once made sense suddenly doesn't, those words can feel like salt in the wound. Everything happens for a reason. Really? What reason could possibly justify pain, heartbreak, or tragedy? It's easy to repeat that phrase when things go our way. But when the ground disappears beneath our feet, we realize how hollow those words can sound. And yet, maybe that's exactly where the real meaning begins. The truth isn't that the universe owes you an explanation. It's not that every painful thing happens because you deserve it or because there's some hidden reward waiting neatly at the end. The truth is simpler and harder. Life gives you what it gives you, and what you make of it is the reason. Every loss, every heartbreak, every door that slams shut, they don't come with meaning. We give them meaning. The reason isn't out there waiting for you to discover. It's something you create with your choices, your courage, and your response to what life throws your way. You don't find purpose in the pain by waiting for it to explain itself. You find it by deciding who you'll become because of it. Think about it. Maybe that breakup wasn't punishment. It was space being cleared for the version of you who refuses to settle. Maybe losing that job wasn't failure. It was the universe forcing you to stop building someone else's dream and start building your own. Maybe that season of loneliness wasn't a curse. It was an invitation to finally meet yourself. We can't always control what happens to us, but we can always choose what happens through us. And that choice, the choice to create meaning instead of waiting for it, is what separates those who stay broken from those who become unbreakable. So, yes, everything happens for a reason, but that reason isn't written in the sky. It's written by you. Every time you refuse to give up, every time you turn pain into purpose, every time you say, "This will not define me, I will define it." And maybe that's what life has been trying to teach you all along. That you are not a victim of the story. You are the author of it. The meaning isn't found in what happened. It's found in what you choose next. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting for life to explain itself. Stop asking, "Why me?" Start asking, "What now?" Don't waste your suffering trying to understand it. Transform it. Take that broken piece inside you and use it as the beginning of something only you could create. Because the reason everything happens might just be you. If you've ever felt lost, if you've ever looked at the sky and begged for meaning, this is your moment. Don't wait for a sign. Be the sign. Turn your pain into direction. Turn your fear into movement. Turn your story into a reason someone else believes again. Because maybe, just maybe, you are the reason everything happened the way it did. If part one was about seeing that everything happens for a reason you must create, then part two is about the how. Because knowing that pain can become purpose is one thing. Living it is another. We talk about growth like it's poetic, like it's beautiful, but the truth is, growth is violent. It's the sound of your old self cracking open. It's the silence after loss, when you realize the world won't pause for your healing. It's the mornings you wake up and have to rebuild your identity from scratch. That's not pretty, but that's where real transformation begins. Pain doesn't leave you the same. It either hardens you or hones you. It either makes you bitter or makes you brave. The difference? The story you tell yourself while you're bleeding. You can keep repeating, "This shouldn't have happened." Or you can whisper, "This is where I begin again." Because pain, if you let it, can become the most honest teacher you'll ever have. It strips away everything false, the people you pretended to be, the things you thought you needed, the illusions you are behind. Pain exposes what's real. It reminds you that you can survive what you thought you couldn't, that your strength was never in avoiding the storm, but in standing inside it without breaking. And somewhere in that process, between the heartbreak and the healing, you begin to understand that meaning isn't found in answers, it's found in becoming. Every scar becomes a story. Every tear becomes a truth. And every time you face something that tries to destroy you, you're given a choice to repeat or to rise. Here's what most people miss. Purpose doesn't show up fully formed. It's built piece by piece through every small act of resilience. You find it when you help someone going through what almost broke you. You find it when you decide to keep showing up even when no one claps. You find it when you turn your story from why me into watch me. So don't rush your healing. Don't demand clarity from chaos. Let it shape you slowly. Let it carve you into someone who no longer runs from pain, but transforms through it. That's how purpose is born, not in comfort, but in confrontation. Not in control, but in surrender. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize the thing that hurt you the most became the thing that built you the most. The loss that shattered you was also the doorway to your becoming. You'll look at your scars and finally understand. They weren't reminders of where you were broken. They were proof of where you healed. So if you're in pain right now, don't numb it. Don't rush past it. Sit with it. Listen to what it's trying to teach you. Let it burn away everything that isn't truly you. Because purpose doesn't rise from the easy parts of life. It rises from the ashes. Stop searching for your purpose in perfect moments. It's hiding in the places that hurt. Take that pain and turn it into something that matters. A story, a mission, a change, a truth. The world doesn't need you to be unbroken. It needs you to be real. And maybe the reason everything happened was to awaken the part of you strong enough to light the way for others. It's one thing to talk about meaning. It's another to live it. After the heartbreak fades, after the lessons sink in, you wake up one morning and realize life goes on. The bills still need paying. The world still moves. And that's where the real test begins. Can you carry your purpose into the ordinary? Can you live with meaning not just in your highlights, but in the quiet, messy, everyday moments that no one sees? Most people think purpose is a grand revelation, something you find on a mountaintop or during some life-changing event. But meaning doesn't come in lightning bolts. It's built in coffee-stained mornings, in conversations you almost didn't have, in the small choices that seem invisible but slowly shape who you are becoming. Purpose is not what you find. It's what you practice. To live with meaning every day is to show up with intention. It's choosing to be fully present where your feet are, even when your mind wants to run away. It's listening deeply when someone speaks. It's saying thank you not because everything is perfect, but because you've learned to see beauty in the imperfect. It's understanding that the real work of transformation doesn't happen in the spotlight. It happens in the silence of your daily decisions. Meaning hides in the details. It's in the way you start your morning. Do you scroll or do you breathe? It's in the way you speak to yourself when you mess up. Do you judge or do you forgive? It's in the way you treat the people you love. When life gets heavy, do you withdraw or do you stay? These are the small, invisible acts that build the architecture of a meaningful life. And yet, we live in a world obsessed with more. More money, more status, more followers. But meaning is never found in more. It's found in enough. Enough time to notice. Enough gratitude to appreciate. Enough presence to actually live your life instead of performing it. To live with meaning every day, you have to slow down enough to see. You have to look at the sunrise and actually feel it. You have to forgive people who will never say sorry, because peace is more valuable than pride. You have to choose love again and again, even when it scares you, because love, not the soft movie kind, but the real, patient, quiet kind, is where all meaning begins. Living with meaning is also learning to stay awake, to not let life turn numb. The world will try to desensitize you, endless noise, endless scrolling, endless distractions. But a meaningful life is built by people who refuse to look away, people who still care, people who choose depth in a culture addicted to surface. And maybe that's a real revolution, to live intentionally in a world that profits off your disconnection, to wake up and say, I will not move through this day on autopilot. I will speak kindly. I will listen with my whole heart. I will be here. That's what meaning looks like. Not some grand purpose waiting at the end of your life, but 1,000 tiny moments of presence stitched together with love. When you live this way, something changes. Life stops being something that happens to you and becomes something that happens through you. Even the hard days start to carry weight, not because they're pleasant, but because they're real. You start to see that meaning isn't about perfection. It's about participation. It's about being awake enough to live your story with honesty. And maybe, when you live this way long enough, you'll realize the purpose of life was never to figure it out. It was to live it, fully, deeply, imperfectly, with your heart wide open, even when it hurts. So here's the challenge. Don't wait for a someday to live with meaning. Start now. Start with how you show up today, how you speak, how you love, how you listen. The smallest actions done with intention will echo longer than any grand plan. Be awake, be real, be present, because the meaning of life isn't found in the answers you chase. It's hidden in the moments you live. Here's the part no one wants to talk about. Staying awake isn't easy. Finding meaning once, that's beautiful. Living it for a week, inspiring. But staying awake year after year, through bills, heartbreak, fatigue, failure, and repetition, that's the real work. That's the long game. Because the truth is, even after all the lessons, even after you found purpose, life doesn't stop testing you. There will still be mornings when you wake up numb, nights when you question everything you once believed. You'll still face people who disappoint you, dreams that don't unfold, and moments that make you wonder if it was all worth it. And that's when you realize staying awake isn't about feeling inspired. It's about choosing to keep your heart open, even when inspiration disappears. See, it's easy to be spiritual when the sky is clear. It's easy to talk about gratitude when things go your way. But meaning, real meaning, is forged in repetition, in the unglamorous moments where nothing looks divine. It's built when you keep showing up, when no one claps, when your soul whispers, keep going, this still matters. That's the long game. Learning to love the process more than the progress. Because sometimes life won't give you a breakthrough. Sometimes it gives you routine. And maybe that's not punishment. Maybe that's training. Every time you choose patience over panic, discipline over drama, faith over fear, you're building something unshakable inside you. You're teaching your heart to hold steady in the storm. Staying awake doesn't mean you never fall. It means you know how to get back up with grace. It means you forgive yourself faster. It means you trust the rhythm of your own becoming, even when it doesn't look like anyone else's. And when everything you want to give up, you rest, but you don't quit. You remember that purpose isn't feeling. It's a commitment. Here's the secret most people miss. Meaning deepens over time. It's not supposed to feel thrilling forever. Like love, it matures. It quiets down. It becomes less about fireworks and more about foundation. You start realizing that being awake isn't about chasing highs. It's about staying grounded when everything around you shakes. The long game asks you to be both strong and soft. Strong enough to endure what life demands, and soft enough not to let it harden you. It's holding on to hope without clinging to control. It's learning to find beauty even in uncertainty. It's realizing that peace doesn't come when life stops being hard. It comes when you stop needing it to be easy. You will be tested. Again and again. Life will ask you, do you still trust me? Do you still believe in your reason when everything falls apart again? And your answer, not in words, but in how you live, will be the truest prayer you'll ever say. Sometimes staying awake means letting go. Letting go of timelines. Letting go of who you thought you'd be. Letting go of the idea that growth should always feel good. Because real awakening isn't about feeling light. It's about learning to carry your darkness with honesty. And when you learn that, when you can look at the chaos and still whisper, I'm here, I'm alive, I'm learning, that's when you've truly grown. Because staying awake isn't a one-time act. It's a way of being. A daily courage to live open-hearted in a world that rewards the closed. So yes, the long game is slow. It's repetitive. It's not always glamorous. But it's sacred because every day you choose presence over numbness. Every time you keep your faith when logic says not to, you're shaping a life that can't be shaken by circumstance. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't just survive, you illuminate. Don't give up when life feels quiet. Don't mistake silence for absence. Meaning is still there, even when you can't feel it. Keep walking. Keep showing up. Keep your heart open, even when it hurts to do so. Because the long game isn't about perfection, it's about endurance. It's about building a soul that stays awake no matter how dark the night gets. And when you do that, one day you'll look back and realize the reason everything happened wasn't to break you. It was to build the version of you that could stay awake through it all. It's easy to feel awake when you're alone. When the world is quiet, when you've got your coffee, your journal, your playlist, and everything feels just right, awakening feels natural. But the true test isn't found in solitude. It's found in traffic, in arguments, in heartbreak, in the daily noise of the world that doesn't care about your inner peace. That's where the real practice begins. Because living awake in a world means remembering who you are when life tries to make you forget. It's choosing to stay grounded when everyone around you is losing their center. It's choosing compassion when judgment would be easier. It's keeping your heart open when someone slams the door in your face. That's not weakness. That's spiritual strength. Most people think enlightenment means escaping the mess. But awakening was never about leaving the world. It was about learning how to love it, even when it's broken. You don't rise above life. You rise within it. You show up fully, flaws and all, knowing that your presence is the medicine the world desperately needs. Living awake means you stop needing everything to be peaceful before you can be at peace. You stop waiting for the world to change before you bring kindness into it. You realize that your small moments of awareness, the way you listen, the way you speak, the way you forgive, they ripple outward. You don't have to change the whole world to make a difference. You just have to stop adding to its unconsciousness. And yes, people will test you. They'll misunderstand you. They'll project their pain onto you. But here's the thing, you can't control them, and you don't have to. Living awake means knowing the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is automatic. It's fear, ego, defense. Response is awareness. It's strength, empathy, choice. The more you practice it, the more you turn chaos into clarity. Sometimes you'll slip. You'll lose your temper. You'll forget everything you've learned. That's okay. Awakening isn't perfection. It's remembering faster. It's catching yourself mid-fall and saying, "Ah, there I go again," and gently returning to center. You don't fail because you forgot. You grow because you returned. The world doesn't need more people pretending to be enlightened. It needs people who are awake and real. People who can walk through darkness without pretending it's light. People who can love without needing to be right. People who can stand firm in truth without losing kindness. Living awake in a world also means accepting that not everyone will meet you at the same depth, and that's okay. Your job isn't to wake people up by force. It's to live so fully, so truthfully, that your presence becomes an invitation. People don't change because you tell them to. They change because they feel something in you that reminds them of who they could be. And maybe that's the most profound gift of awakening. Not peace of yourself, but peace that moves through you. You become the kind of person who walks into a room and softens it. The kind of person who listens deeply, who forgives quietly, who loves anyway. The kind of person who doesn't just believe everything happens for a reason, but lives in a way that creates those reasons. So no, you don't need to run away to the mountains or meditate for hours to live awake. You just need to start where you are, in the middle of the noise, the mess, the imperfections, and keep coming back to awareness. Keep remembering, I am not what happens to me. I am what I choose to bring to it. That's living awake, not escaping reality, but engaging it with presence. Not avoiding pain, but transforming it with compassion. Not chasing happiness, but becoming peace. And when you live this way, something incredible happens. You start to realize the world itself is not your enemy. It's your teacher. Every person who frustrates you shows you where you're still reactive. Every delay shows you where you're still impatient. Every loss shows you what truly matters. The world isn't against your awakening. It's sculpting it. So maybe enlightenment isn't found in stillness after all. Maybe it's found in motion, in the way you live, breathe, love, and forgive in real time. Maybe heaven isn't a place above, but a state of being below. Here and now, in the ordinary miracle of being fully human and fully awake. So here's your invitation. Don't wait for the world to quiet down before you find peace. Bring peace into the world. Be the calm in someone's storm. Be the understanding in someone's chaos. Be the love that walks through the noise without losing its center. Because the real mark of awakening isn't how still you can sit. It's how deeply you can love while you move. At some point, you stop asking, why did this happen to me? You stop trying to make sense of every heartbreak, every ending, every detour that tore through your plans. Because one day in the quiet between your thoughts, you finally understand it all had to happen this way. Every closed door, every sleepless night, every loss that made you feel like you were breaking apart. None of it was random. It was your life sculpting you. Every single moment was a hand shaping your edges, sanding your ego, softening your pride, until what remained was real. Until you could finally see who you truly are. And isn't that the secret? We think awakening is about gaining something new, but maybe it's about losing everything false. Losing the need to control, to be right, to have it all figured out. Maybe enlightenment isn't some bright flash of perfection. Maybe it's simply the deep exhale after years of trying to be someone you're not. When you finally stop fighting life, you realize life was never fighting you. It was just trying to wake you up. That heartbreak, it wasn't punishment. It was a mirror showing you where you built your worth on someone else's love. That failure, it wasn't the end. It was the universe whispering, not this, not yet, not here. That chaos you hated, it was your cocoon breaking so your wings could grow. You see, awakening doesn't make life easier. It makes it truer. You still feel pain, but you no longer drown in it. You still lose people, but you no longer lose yourself. You still face uncertainty, but now you trust the current beneath the chaos. Because everything that happens, every rise, every fall, is part of your becoming. You weren't meant to control the flow. You were meant to learn how to move with it. That's the quiet beauty of Dharma, the invisible order that holds it all together. The same way the ocean knows where to end and the sky knows where to begin, life knows exactly where to take you, even when you don't. And maybe that's the real freedom, to walk through life without demanding answers, to trust that meaning will reveal itself in time. When you stop needing certainty, you begin to taste peace. When you stop chasing happiness, you begin to live it. And when you stop clinging to the story of what could have been, you finally open your hands to what is. I once heard someone say, the moment you stop resisting your life is the moment it begins to make sense. Maybe that's what the Buddha meant when he said suffering is optional. Not that we can escape pain, but that we can choose not to be consumed by it. When we stop calling things good or bad, we begin to see life as a teacher that never stops speaking. And the truth is, it's been speaking to you all along, through the heartbreak that cracked you open, through the failures that redirected you, through the quiet mornings when you thought no one was listening. It's all been the same lesson, repeated until you understood. You were never being broken. You were being built. So if you're watching this right now, standing in the middle of confusion, wondering why things didn't go the way you hoped, take a breath. You're not lost. You're being led. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Every event, every delay, every heartbreak is aligning you with the version of yourself you were always meant to become. That's the gift of awakening, realizing you were never off the path. Even your detours were part of the journey. Even your mistakes were stepping stones. Because everything happens for a reason, not a cosmic justification, but a sacred opportunity to wake up, to love deeper, to live wider. So don't wait for life to be perfect before you start living. Don't wait for pain to disappear before you open your heart again. And don't wait for certainty before you trust your next step. The path reveals itself only to the feet that keep walking. Right now, right here, you are exactly where you need to be. Not ahead, not behind, just here, in the middle of your own becoming. So take another breath. Look around. This moment, this silence, this uncertainty, this is your practice. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that the hardest chapters were the ones that taught you how to fly. You didn't fall off your path. You became it. You didn't lose your light. You discovered it. You didn't just survive. You woke up. If this message found you at the right time, it wasn't by accident. You were meant to hear it. So before you scroll away, take a second, breathe, and whisper to yourself, I trust the process. I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And if that truth stirs something in you, share it. Not because the world needs another video, but because someone out there needs this reminder too. Everything you've lived, everything you've lost, everything you've learned, it all happened for a reason. You just had to wake up to see it. At some point, the story stops being about what happened to you and starts being about what you're going to do with it. Because yes, everything happens for a reason, but that reason isn't written somewhere outside of you, waiting to be discovered. The reason is you. You are the one who gives meaning to what you've lived through, who decides what the pain becomes, who turns endings into beginnings. Every event in your life was never random. It was shaping you in silence. The heartbreaks, the failures, the moments you thought you couldn't stand. They were all preparing you for this version of yourself, the one who can finally see that nothing was wasted. The universe was never punishing you. It was guiding you, cutting away what couldn't stay, so that what was meant for you could finally arrive. The lesson was never about control. It was about trust. Trust that you can stand in the storm and still breathe. Trust that the losses didn't destroy you. They revealed your strength. Trust that the confusion wasn't a mistake. It was a sacred pause, an opening for awareness to enter. Awakening doesn't mean escaping the world. It means coming home to it, to yourself, to this moment, to the quiet truth that everything you've been searching for was never out there. It's always been here. Because the goal was never to live a perfect life. It was to live a conscious one. To meet yourself fully even when it hurts. To stay open when it would be easy to shut down. To love when you could have chosen bitterness. Every scar you carry is a map, not of where you were broken, but of where you healed. Every tear was a seed. Every fall was an invitation to rise differently. You see, awakening isn't the end of the story. It's the beginning of living with your eyes open. You still feel pain, but it no longer defines you. You still face chaos, but it no longer owns you. You still lose people, but you no longer lose yourself. Because you've seen the truth. Life was never against you. It was building you. And when you realize that, everything changes. You stop asking for the pain to go away, and instead, you ask what it's trying to teach you. You stop waiting for the world to make sense before you trust it. You start walking, even when you can't see the path, because you finally understand. The path reveals itself only to those who keep walking. You start to see that even the detours were part of the journey. Even the mistakes were necessary. Even the silence was divine. You start to forgive, not because they deserve it, but because you do. You start to live without demanding that life be easy, because you've tasted something deeper. Peace. Not the kind that comes when everything is right, but the kind that remains even when everything falls apart. You realize you were never off track. You were being guided through every twist and turn, molded by every fire, refined by every loss. And in that realization, something within you softens. You stop fighting the current and start flowing with it. You stop needing to prove anything, because your existence itself has become the proof that love, resilience, and presence are stronger than anything that tried to break you. You begin to see that you're not just part of the story. You are the story unfolding in real time, rewriting itself with every breath. So take a moment and breathe. Not to hold on, but to release. Release the idea that you need to fix yourself before you live. Release the guilt of not being where you thought you'd be. Release the illusion that healing means never hurting again. Healing was never about never falling. It was about remembering each time you do that you can rise. And now it's your turn to rise. Rise with everything you've learned, everything you've lost, everything you become. Rise knowing that you are not behind. You are right on time. Rise knowing that you didn't just survive, you transformed. And when you rise, reach back. Help someone else do the same. That's how the light spreads. That's how pain becomes purpose. That's how everything that ever happened finally makes sense. Because maybe you're still here for a reason. To remind the world that even after everything, love is still worth it. That hope can still return. That life, even in its messiest moments, is still a miracle. You are the proof that we can fall and still rise, that we can break and still bloom, that we can lose everything and still choose love. You are the reason the story continued. You are the reason everything happened. And now it's time, not to start over, but to begin awake.